Hi everyone, Tony Tonkin here from the Child Protection Party. I wanted to talk to people today about the powerlessness of parents who have kids locked up in this particular system. And this has come about primarily because I've had many conversations with parents over the years about how they are able to or unable to, in fact, parent when their kids are under the guardianship of the minister. The reality is that it's impossible. And one of the situations that has arisen over the last couple of weeks has been my conversation with a woman whose son has been behaving extremely badly, has been under the care of the minister for some 5 years or so. The child is now 15, and I was working with them back when the children were initially taken. And the problem is that the child's behaviour is completely way out of control and inappropriate. So he's abusive. He talks down to his mother. He abuses his mother verbally, and it's a very toxic relationship. But the mother is conflicted because, on one hand, she wants to support her son and wants to help him amongst threats of suicide, being bashed and beaten up while in residential care by others that are older than himself, and just, I guess, some mental well-being issues that dominate. Now, because I understand this family so well, I also know that the children grew up in a violent and abusive household. The father was extremely violent, and there was lots and lots of drug use by the parents as well. So that it's no wonder that the child has become who he has become. And it's no wonder that the children were removed in the first place. They certainly were unsafe in that household. I've never advocated that we should abolish the child protection system entirely, but we certainly should make sure that we're adapting or adopting a new system which is taking care of our kids. Because even under this extreme circumstance, the child is not being cared for, not being protected by the very system that has removed the child, stating that the system needed to have this child removed from his parents because of their bad behaviour. So where does this get worse? Well, it becomes more and more severe when the child themselves, because of the past, because of the way they've been treated while in care, has decided that life simply isn't worth living. I had a conversation with this young person a week or so ago, and he told me that he couldn't think of anything beyond what was going to happen the following day. There was no sense of projecting as to how his life is going to be in the future. He wasn't looking forward to anything. That life was just drudgery, and it was a sad existence for him to have. Now, for a parent though, remembering that the parent still loves this child, that has never changed, regardless of the child's behaviour. The parent has decided, though, that for the time being she doesn't want to have anything to do with the child. There's a younger child involved, and that child may be removed from the mother if he continues to inhabit the household, even though he is living in a residential care facility. The problem is that even when a mother loves a child, and she does not want to see that child harmed, what a terrible and frightening decision it is to have to make to ensure that others that the mother is caring for, namely in this case a younger child, are protected, that she herself is protected, and that she needs protection from this elder child. Particularly when the department choose not to take any responsibility whatsoever for the way they have chosen to parent this child over the last 5 years, and have failed to take any responsibility to help this child to manage their current behaviour. So this elder child has not received counselling, has no services offered to him or is mandated to attend that will address his behaviour. The theory seems to be that the child reaches, when they reach adolescence, that there's not much that the department can do. And I've heard over the years social workers talk about that. But what they fail to recognise is that when that child was younger and initially in their care, they could have put steps in place that would have been able to address some of the issues that were of concern to the child, and for the trauma in relation to being removed in the first place, and for the trauma that was created by the parents also. So, what is it that we do, or what is it that we need to do, or what is it that we need to at least recognise here? And the first thing I think is that people need to take responsibility for the reasons why children wind up the way that they are. And in this case, I'm convinced and I know that the mother takes responsibility for whatever happened in that household that has created the issue for this child initially. But the department has chosen not to take any responsibility at all. In fact, they don't seem to care as to what's happened, providing they can monitor him, know where he is at any particular given time, and can at least say they're providing a roof over his head, then that is all that they need to do. Whether he's taking drugs or not doesn't seem to be relevant to them whatsoever. Whether he's acting badly, assaulting other people, or even in some cases, I'm not sure this is happening to him, but stealing, and in some cases that I know of, prostituting themselves in order to earn money or drugs, the department seems to ignore those children. We know from certain cases around Australia, those kids that wind up in places like here in Australia, Cavan or some other sort of detainee centre, we know that those children have terrible outcomes. We know that they are damaged further by those experiences, but we also know that the government throws their hands up in the air and says, too much, too hard, can't deal with this, and we need to find a way to move on. I don't care what happens to this child as they enter into adulthood. They will be on their own when they're 18. We will have nothing to do with them. And we see governments choosing to do just that. I don't want anything to do with this child. Well, I said, I can't wait for them to be out of the system. What they fail to realise, and I think this is the horrifying truth, is that when a child grows into adulthood, if they haven't addressed any of those issues that caused some of their bad behaviours in the first place, they will continue them as adults. They will find themselves in adult prisons. They will find themselves in relationships that are damaging to women and to children. They will find that their children that they have later on in life will be removed from them because they haven't dealt with the trauma that caused them to be removed from their own families in the first place. It is a catastrophe and it's a nightmare, and it's just going to happen over and over again. So what I'd like you to do is to tell us about your experiences as a parent when you feel hopeless, powerless about what it is that you can do about children you love who are out of control. When you recognise the fact that you may have done all that you can to rectify whatever issues caused the children to be removed in the first place, that you believe, in fact, and a lot of parents believe, if the child was in their care and the government was out of the way, services could have been provided for this child that would have addressed the issues, whereas the government have chosen not to address those particular issues, that the love and care that a parent offers for a child is far greater than any care that the department itself will offer. What do you think? What can be done to make a difference for you and your children, particularly your elder children if they've been in care for a long, long time? That the government tends to want to abdicate responsibility. Parents are saying, and this is what I hear them saying, is that we don't want to abdicate our responsibility. We will love this child regardless of their bad behaviour. But we want to find effective ways to be able to help them. Not to throw them onto the dung heap, not to make out they don't exist, to let them go and do their own thing and cause further eruptions and so forth in communities. But we want to be able to find ways to help them, because that's what parents are saying to us. The government seems to be saying something completely different. We'd like to know what you think, and if you could just let us know by putting a comment down below on if you're on YouTube. And incidentally, if you are on YouTube, we'd like you to subscribe and to ring the bell if you wouldn't mind. That would be helpful. If you're watching this on Facebook, please put a comment down below, and we will try and respond to that comment when we can. Thanks everybody for being with me. Take care, look after yourselves, and more importantly, be safe.